I get it, you're scrolling through a sea of binoculars, wondering if spending a couple $100 on something you'll only use a few weekends a year is worth it. You've probably imagined yourself out in the field, squinting at a distant bird or trying to spot a deer before it bolts, and the last thing you need is a piece of glass that lets you down at the crucial moment. So before you click Add to Cart, let's walk through what the ZEISS Victory HT1054 actually does when you take it out of the case, and whether the price tag matches the experience. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest thing people worry about with high magnification optics is light. A 10 magnification can be a double-edged sword. You get a tighter view, but you also lose a lot of brightness, especially on overcast mornings. ZEISS tackles that with a 95% light transmission claim, thanks to high transmission shot glass. In practice, that means the image stays relatively lively even when the sky is a dull gray. I tried the binoculars on a misty sunrise at a local wetland, and the waterfowl silhouettes were still clear enough to identify species without straining. If you normally hunt or birdwatch in low-light conditions, that high transmission is a real comfort, because you won't be forced to give up on a shot just because the image turns into a murky silhouette. Weight is another common hesitation. A 1054 pair can feel like a brick, and you end up putting the binoculars on a tripod after a few minutes of shoulder hunting. ZEISS tried to soften that by optimizing the objective lens diameter, basically making the lenses a bit slimmer without compromising the 54mm aperture. The result is a binocular that feels lighter than its German competitors in the same class, but it's still a decent chunk of gear to hold for a prolonged trek. If you're planning to hike 10+ miles with a pack, you might still feel the heft after a while, so consider pairing it with a comfortable neck strap or a binocular harness. One feature that actually changes how you use the thing in the field is the comfort focus concept. The focusing wheel is deliberately oversized and positioned for a natural grip, so you can make fine adjustments without having to twist your wrist awkwardly. I found that when I was tracking a flock of geese moving across the horizon, a quick nudge on the wheel let me keep the image sharp without taking my eye off the bird. For people who get nervous about missing a moment, that ergonomic focus can be a quiet confidence booster. The ZEISS T* coating is another piece of the puzzle. It's a multi-layer coating that reduces glare and boosts contrast, especially when you're looking at subjects against a bright sky. I tested that on a sunny afternoon while standing on a ridge looking down at a valley of deer. The coating helped the dark outlines of the animals stand out against the bright background, making it easier to pick out individual bucks versus the foliage. If you spend a lot of time in bright, open terrain, that contrast enhancement will be noticeable. In dense forest shade, the benefit is less dramatic but still present. Now, let's talk about the any weather claim. The binoculars are sealed well enough to keep out rain and dust, so you can keep them in your coat pocket during a sudden downpour without worrying about fogging up inside. In a test where I sprayed a light mist over the lenses, the view stayed clear, and there was no need to wipe them constantly. That reliability is a plus for hunters who can't afford to lose a shot because a sudden drizzle fogged their optics. So who should walk away with the Victory HT, and who should keep looking? If you're an avid birdwatcher who spends a good chunk of your weekends in open fields, marshes, or coastal cliffs, the combination of high light transmission, sturdy optics, and the ergonomic focus will make these binoculars a solid upgrade from a standard 842 pair. The extra 2x magnification gives you that up-close feel without demanding a tripod, and the bright, high-contrast image helps with species identification, something many field guides rely on. If you're a hunter who needs a quick, reliable view while moving through varied terrain, the binoculars also fit the bill, provided you're okay with the moderate weight. The bright images in low light and the weatherproof sealing align well with early morning hunts and sudden weather changes. The large focusing wheel means you can stay focused on a moving target while adjusting for distance on the fly, a subtle but useful advantage when a deer darts out of cover. On the flip side, if you're a casual user who only takes a binocular out once a year for a family picnic, the price point might feel steep compared to a more budget-friendly 832 set. Those lower-powered binoculars will be lighter, cheaper, and still adequate for a quick look at a distant sailboat. Also, if you're primarily interested in low-light astronomy, a 1054 with a 95% transmission is respectable, but you'll still be